Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today I'm going to be showing you a new knife. Let's get started. I will admit, I'm not really sure how to pronounce the manufacturer, but it is Sitivien, Sitivien, something like that. It is the ST151 model number with D2 steel. Not the highest grade steel in my research, but when I tell you the price I paid for this, that will not be a shock to you. What I liked is off of Amazon, again, the price was a big seller. I do like the color. It's like a green snakeskinish, and you can actually see the texturing of that, and more importantly, feel the texturing. So you're not holding a plastic grip. You're actually feeling, it's almost like a wood grain, so it gives you a little bit better grip on that. But I do like the color pattern. Green is one of my favorite colors, as one could easily assume. And the action on this is actually very nice. I had another flipper, it was maybe about this big, and I found with my hands, they're not large, I wouldn't say. They are a large size as far as gloves are concerned, but I wouldn't say they're very large hands. I found I had to choke up on that other one. I didn't have as much throw, versus this one fits my hand pretty well. I have 2 points of contact here, plus up against my palm. Gives me a very easy leverage point to activate that. The blade, it feels heavy in the hand. Just the blade itself, it seems like there's a lot of material there. And rightly so. We're looking at over an inch, I'm going to call it wide, versus like a quarter, 18th of an inch thick. It's a chunky boy, but it still handles relatively balanced in the hand. This is of course going to be thrown off with my lanyard here, but we have a balancing point of around what I would call middle. I really like, it's not a mirror finish. It's not like stone wash or anything fancy like that. You can see the individual, we'll call it striations, grooves in the metal. And that's more probably a cost saving measure than some kind of aesthetic touch. But I do like, you can't grip it. And if I run my finger across it, you don't really hear that I'm strumming across it like a file. It does still have a mirror enough finish, a reflective enough finish. You can see like the phone and stuff in the reflection there. I also like the fact that nothing on here is gaudy or outstanding. There's no like orange or blue or anything like that. It's just a basic knife. It blends into the environment you would probably be using it in. To that effect, we have, just basic black accents and paint, I would assume, on the blade here. I also like the shape of it. Again, self-admitted, ignorant purchaser as far as knives go. But the belly seems kind of weird, and then it has almost a like a tanto tip. It's very unusual for me. And I find that I like it more and more the more I use it. I've never needed a dedicated knife. I've always found most things that I need to cut have been easily serviced by the Victorinox. This is a Swiss Champ. I guess while we have it out here, it's of course going to be dwarfed, but of cutting edge, we have just over 2¼ inches versus shy of just shy of 4 inches. So it's of course a much hardier blade in length, belly, width, and thickness. It's probably twice as thick as a pocket knife. Who would have figured? But so far I'm really liking it, even though I'm not a fan of dedicated knives. And they didn't even put like a cap lifter or some kind of pry bar or something on there. It feels like a missed opportunity, but of course I like having tools on my knives. I will say the action is super slick, just under the weight of the blade itself. Once you get past the lock threshold right here, it falls shut. It's beautiful. I forget what my other flipper was. I think it was a I'm not sure. It was a name brand for what that's worth. But I'm finding more and more that action is super slick. It locks up very tight. There's just the least littlest bit of left-right wobble. But I mean, you have to work it to feel that. Never in my workings with it or cutting, shaving with it, have I noticed that wobble. Speaking of shaving out of the box, I've had this maybe a month now, so it may not be quite so sharp, but I am very easily shaving with that. Could be sharper by someone, not me, who actually knows how to sharpen, but for the price paid, I'm really liking it. I guess the last thing we have before we get into that price paid, this is something I saw online that you could do. While I like that it blends in with natural colors, grass, mud, stuff you'd be doing outside, I was concerned that I'm a fan of high contrast. So the fact that it didn't have anything high contrast was a little concerning to me. So I just threw this together. It's a high visibility lanyard with a 38 special shell casing. I had one laying around. Used a screw and a drill, drove the screw into the primer, and then pulled it out with a hammer claw, and was able to run the lanyard through there. And now it's a nice little stop. So I have a way I can either grab the knife and pull it off my belt, or this is going to dangle, and I could just grab that and pull inside a pocket, inside a bag, something like that. Instead of reaching all the way in to grab the knife to pull it, you can have this lanyard and be able to pull it out. Have it whatever color you want. I guess as the kids get older, they could put different beads or something on there, but I think that works pretty well. It gives me a high contrast brass knob. I'm thinking of a word, but I can't say the word. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm not thinking of the word. But essentially, a stop to give you something to terminate on. And then the lanyard could be whatever color you want, of course. The nice thing is I can pull here and the whole thing comes off. Swap it out for different ones, I suppose, if you wanted to. And then, if I can get it back on, I made it to a length where I saw online, and it's more so with heavier knives, but this will give you a stronger grip in that I'm less likely to be able to drop the knife if I'm doing some heavy chopping or macheting or clearing grasses or something like that. Gives you an additional hold. Speaking of hold, there's really no hot spots even with the belt clip there. I find I have a full-handed grip on it, and yet there's some safety. So it's got a nice little, I'll call it a beaver tail, carryover from firearms, and that it is a stop to prevent my fingers from getting up on the blade while I'm holding it. And then you have some nice knurling here. That gives you a nice place to put your thumb. I have found that there's a couple different ways you can open this. You can open it with a finger flip. With this hook, you can use it as a, a knob, I guess, to use your thumb to open it. And then you can also, and I'd have to do it off camera, but let's say you have the pocket on your belt. You could clip it onto the edge of your pocket, leverage it open, and then pull it up as if it were a, non-folder. So a couple different ways to activate that blade. Of course, only the one way to defeat it. You'll move the liner lock to the side, get your fingers out of the way, and close. Very satisfying, audible, and tactile click to that. And you'll see just by the weight of the blade and the smoothness of the mechanism, just under its own energy, it will drop into place and lock into place. So it doesn't require a firm snap to get it into place. If I got it here, just gravity drops it. If I get it started, I can rotate the blade and it'll open. And then once I get it here, I can just flick it. And the metal is heavy enough that it snaps into place. This may mean nothing to the majority of you guys, but again, as someone who doesn't typically favor or really has no reason to carry a dedicated knife edge, these are things that I have found. It does like to retain fingerprints, but with just a humble t-shirt, it appears to wipe pretty clean. So all that for $11. So this is typically, I think, $29 on Amazon. They were running a sale on 3 different models. This one appealed the most to me. Never heard of the name brand before or anything like that, but had seen this on 704 Tactical, which I'll put here. YouTuber, he keeps track of firearms and knives and night vision stuff and optics and stuff like that. And any sales that websites are running, be it Amazon or the manufacturer's website, he'll try and keep you aware of it. So that man has spent a number of my dollary dues, and so far he hasn't steered me wrong. So again, I'll put that up in the top corner there. For $11, I'm very pleased with it. The reviews are pretty glowing for this company. Seems to be pretty well made. I've taken the scales off, and there are, I think you can see the 4 circles there. So there are lightning cuts. Lightening, not lightning. And that is metal that has been removed that would otherwise serve no structural purpose, but does make the knife a little bit lighter. To that effect, let's pull out the science box. Coming from the world of the Victorinox, weight isn't really something I focus on as far as tool usage is concerned, but 140 grams, just shy of 5 ounces on this guy. That's with the lanyard. So I'm not going to say it's lightweight and it's not marketed to be or anything like that, but it is not heavy on your belt, especially. And I guess while we're here, let me put it in my pocket. Disappears. Hangs quite nicely. You have just enough. It is a deep carry, so you're going to have just a nub sticking up, which if you work in a work environment where knives are frowned upon or something like that, this is going to hide pretty nicely. Pulling it out is, you'd have to reach up over and try gripping it, assuming you don't have a lanyard, which defeats the purpose of deep concealing it kind of thing. But all in all, I haven't had any issues with it. I don't know how much use it's going to get. That's not a condemnation of the product itself as much as just what I need it for, what I intend to be using it for. But fits on my Batman utility belt easily enough. Nice little flicker. And so far, I am liking it. So if any of you guys have had experience with the company, again, STIVIEN, go and let me know in the comment section below. I feel like this is a pretty good purchase, especially for $11. I feel like I can't buy a piece of shit gas station knife for less than $14. So I feel like I did okay. Go ahead and tell me in the comment section below if you feel otherwise or if you agree. So that is what we have for today. This is outside the target demographic. As always, any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section down below. And I will catch you guys in the next video.